The night Elena Cross realized her carefully built world might be crumbling came with the sharp sting of silence, the kind that pressed against her ears even though the restaurant buzzed with holiday chatter. She stood at the entrance of the grand ballroom, glittering lights reflecting off crystal chandeliers, and tightened her grip on her daughter's small hand as if that alone could keep everything from falling apart. Lily didn't notice the tension. At 7 years old, she was fascinated by the swirl of red dresses, the sparkle of ornaments, and the way snowflakes clung to coats as people entered. She tugged Elena's hand and signed quickly, her fingers dancing with excitement. "Pretty," she said in sign language, her smile bright and unburdened. Elena smiled back, but her heart ached. Bringing Lily to the company's annual Christmas dinner had been a last-minute decision, driven by guilt more than confidence. As the CEO of a rapidly growing tech firm, Elena was expected to host the event, to glide through conversations with donors and executives, to embody control. As a mother to a deaf child, she was constantly reminded that control was an illusion. She had hesitated for days, wondering if Lily would feel out of place, isolated in a room full of voices she couldn't hear. But canceling the babysitter at the last moment had left Elena with no choice. And part of her hoped, quietly, desperately, that maybe tonight would be different. The first challenge came almost immediately. As colleagues greeted Elena with warm laughter and holiday cheer, their eyes flicked to Lily with polite confusion. A few bent down and spoke slowly, loudly, assuming volume might bridge the gap. Lily stared back, puzzled, then looked up at her mother, her smile fading just a little. Elena's chest tightened. She signed to Lily that everything was fine, that people were just excited. Lily nodded, trusting as always, but Elena felt the familiar burn of frustration. She had worked tirelessly to learn sign language after Lily's diagnosis, had advocated for inclusion at schools and events, yet moments like this reminded her how often the world forgot children like her daughter. They took their seats near the center of the room. Elena scanned the crowd, making mental notes about speeches and schedules, when she noticed an empty chair beside Lily. Before she could think about it, a man appeared, carrying a plate stacked precariously with food. "Is this seat taken?" he asked, his voice warm but tentative. Elena shook her head. "No, please." He sat down, adjusting his chair, and then something unexpected happened. He turned to Lily, smiled gently, and raised his hands. "Hello," he signed. Lily's eyes widened. For a heartbeat, she froze, then her face lit up like the Christmas tree across the room. She signed back eagerly, her fingers moving fast, excitement bubbling over. Elena felt her breath catch. She hadn't seen Lily this animated with a stranger before. The man laughed silently, nodding as he followed Lily's rapid signing, occasionally pausing to clarify. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, a quiet island amid the noise. "I'm Mark," he said aloud to Elena, still signing to Lily with one hand. "I hope you don't mind. I'm a bit rusty, but I try." Elena swallowed, emotion rising unexpectedly. "I don't mind at all. I'm Elena, and thank you. You have no idea what this means to her." Mark's smile softened. "I might. My son is deaf too." That simple sentence carried a weight Elena recognized instantly. Shared experience. Shared struggle. She felt an immediate, unspoken understanding pass between them. As the evening unfolded, Elena found herself watching Lily more than the program she was supposed to oversee. Lily laughed silently at something Mark signed, her shoulders shaking with joy. For the first time that night, she wasn't the child on the sidelines. She was included, but challenges didn't disappear just because of one kind stranger. When the first speech began, Lily's confusion returned. Applause erupted without warning, and Lily flinched, startled by the sudden movement. Elena leaned down to explain, signing quickly, but Lily's eyes drifted back to the stage, frustration creeping into her expression. Mark noticed immediately. He leaned over and began interpreting the speech in sign language, his hands steady and expressive. Elena watched, stunned. She had arranged interpreters for board meetings and conferences, but never imagined one would appear so naturally at a company dinner. As Mark signed, Lily relaxed, her tension melting away. She followed the story being told, laughed at the jokes, even joined the applause when Mark tapped the table lightly to cue her. Elena felt tears prick her eyes. She turned away, embarrassed by the intensity of her reaction, but the emotion was unstoppable. Years of navigating Lily's world alone, of being the only bridge between her daughter and everyone else, had worn her down more than she'd admitted. Later, during dinner, Elena learned more about Mark. He was a single father, his wife having passed away 3 years earlier. He worked as a freelance graphic designer and had been contracted by Elena's company for a short-term project. He had learned sign language out of necessity, love driving him to master it so his son would never feel isolated at home. It wasn't easy, Mark admitted quietly as Lily drew pictures on a napkin. There were nights I felt like I was failing him, but then he'd smile at me, and I knew I had to keep trying. Elena nodded. I know that feeling. Their connection deepened as the night went on, but so did Elena's internal conflict. As the CEO, she was expected to maintain a certain distance. As a mother, she wanted to cling to this moment, to this man who had made her daughter feel seen. When dessert was served, another challenge emerged. A group of executives approached Elena, eager to discuss a potential merger. Their conversation grew animated, filled with jargon and laughter. Lily tugged at Elena's sleeve, signing that she was tired and overwhelmed. Elena hesitated. This deal was important. Walking away could send the wrong message. She felt torn between her professional responsibilities and her daughter's needs, a familiar and painful dilemma. Before Elena could respond, Mark gently touched Lily's shoulder and signed to her. Do you want to see the Christmas lights outside? Lily's face brightened instantly. She looked at her mother for permission. Elena hesitated only a second before nodding. Yes, thank you. As Mark and Lily stepped outside, Elena turned back to the executives, apologizing briefly before excusing herself moments later. She found them near the entrance, Lily pointing excitedly at the glowing lights strung along the building. Mark knelt beside Lily, signing animatedly, turning the lights into a story about stars and wishes. Lily laughed, her earlier fatigue forgotten. In that moment, Elena realized something profound. Success, accolades, and control meant nothing if her daughter felt alone. She had spent years trying to prove she could be everything at once, but maybe strength also meant accepting help. Over the following weeks, Mark became a steady presence in their lives. He and Lily formed a bond rooted in shared language and understanding. Elena found herself opening up in ways she hadn't since Lily's father left shortly after her diagnosis, unable to cope with the challenges ahead. They faced obstacles together. Mark struggled with guilt, wondering if letting someone new into his son's life would betray the memory of his wife. Elena battled fear, worried that allowing herself happiness might disrupt the fragile balance she had built. There were misunderstandings too. One evening, a misinterpreted text led to a tense argument, old wounds surfacing. Elena accused Mark of not understanding the pressure she was under. Mark fired back, revealing his own exhaustion and insecurities. But unlike past conflicts in Elena's life, this one didn't end in silence. They talked, they signed, they listened. Slowly, trust grew. The true test came the following Christmas. Elena decided to host a smaller, more inclusive dinner. This time, interpreters were present, signage was clear, and children like Lily weren't an afterthought. As Elena watched Lily chat happily with Mark's son across the room, hands moving in fluid conversation, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't known before. The challenges hadn't vanished. Life was still complex, still demanding. But it was richer now, fuller. Mark caught her eye and smiled, signing softly, "Thank you for letting us be part of this." Elena shook her head, emotion swelling once more. "Thank you for reminding me what truly matters." In a world that often equated power with dominance and success with solitude, Elena had learned a different lesson. Real strength was found in connection, in empathy, in the quiet language of hands moving through the air, building bridges where walls once stood.